Hello, Larry Richardson here with a redo of the August 18th, 2019 Common Sense News episode. Uh, Evidently, the audio quality and other stuff was wrong with the first one, so it's a little later in the morning. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning now. So here goes on the redo. Now, the subject of this one is going to be a follow-up on the Jeffrey Epstein saga. We're going to try to do a little bit of a recap here, too. I was thinking about doing part of today's episode on the finding or the fact that they found some children's bones just off the island in very shallow water at Orgy Island, Epstein's privately owned island down there in the Virgin Islands. But I'm going to do a separate episode on that subject. So let's look at the Epstein saga as his jail time, waiting for trial, and everything goes. I want to start off by going over the timeline of the salient points. First of all, on Tuesday, the 23rd of July, Jeffrey Epstein was found on the floor of his cell, and the officials reported it was an apparent suicide. He was put into suicide watch. Evidently, I guess he was evaluated, whatever they do to apparent suicide people in jail. And that was on the 23rd of July. That was a Tuesday morning. Now, just 6 days later, on Monday, he was returned to his regular prison housing or jail housing situation, whatever that was. And he was declared definitively by the prison authorities that he was not a threat to himself. Okay, 6 days after they supposedly found him either conscious or unconscious, but either way, on the floor of his cell. Only 6 days after that, when they thought he tried to commit suicide, they said, no, he's not a threat to himself. So common sense and logic tell me that that means his evaluation that he underwent showed that he was not suicidal, or they wouldn't have put him back into his other situation so quickly. At least that's what common sense and logic would say. Now, so on Monday, the 29th of July, they put him back in his regular wait for trial situation where he had a roommate and he was in a cell room with, just one roommate. Now, 10 days after that, on a Friday the 9th, Friday night, his roommate was removed from his room. So there wasn't anybody in there 24/7 anymore. The reason for his roommate was removed is kind of sketchy. Some reports say there might have been an altercation between the two of them, but that word might have been, or those words might have been, are kind of open-ended there. But it is reported by his lawyers that he was in good spirits when they left on Friday, and that the last thing he told them on Friday was, see you Sunday. Okay, let's accept that as for what they say it is. And then next morning, at 6:30 in the morning, they find him dead in his cell, and immediately they say apparent suicide, and I guess the autopsy was started, etc. It should have been anyway. And let's go 6 days beyond that to Friday the 15th of August, okay? Friday the 15th of August, there was a kind of a leak about some information in the autopsy that there were broken bones, plural, in his neck. And immediately, every news media agency started pouncing on the fact that the hyoid bone, although it was usually broken in the case of a strangulation, like a murder, it could be broken in a suicide. Hanging suicide is possible, but every news agency ran with the it is possible aspect and highlighting that aspect of the broken bones in the neck. They all ignored the other bones. You have to look at my August the 16th video to see a little more detail on that. Now, earlier in the day on Friday, it was reported by the medical examiner in New York that she could not make a definitive ruling on the cause and manner of death just yet because she was waiting for more information to come forth from other investigations. She didn't specify which ones. Now, later in the day, same day, the Friday the 15th, she did come out with a declarative ruling that his death was definitely caused by hanging and that the manner of his death was suicide. That was definite. There was no evidence of foul play. There was no cause to think it was anything else. Now, that was a pretty definite statement she made, although that's just all it was, is a statement. I haven't seen the entire statement, can't find it on the internet. But I can find one or two small quotes from the statement. What about the entire autopsy report? Has it been released? I don't think so, not yet. So we really still do not know what the autopsy report has to say. So Friday the 15th of August, Friday the 15th, the leak about the broken bones comes out. She says she can't make a definitive ruling. Later in the day, she does make a definitive ruling. Maybe the other investigation reports or information she was waiting for was a toxicology report. That's what CNN thinks. But later in the day, she does make a definitive one, says it's hanging and it's suicide. Definitively, that's it. No room for anything else, according to her short statement. Okay, something smells here. Something smells like a dead fish. In fact, something smells like a whole stack of dead fish. Because the logic just does not fit. Like I said earlier, 6 days after you commit suicide, you're not miraculously cured of suicidal tendencies and eligible to go back into normal situation within confinement. 6 days, probably 6 days, you can't really determine whether they are really suicidal or not, much less declare them healed or fixed from being suicidal. Yet, only 6 days after they found him, apparently trying to commit suicide is what their words are. 6 days later, they declaratively state he is not a danger to himself, and they return him to his previous situation. 10 days after that, they remove his roommate or his cellmate from his cell. So there's nobody there to be a witness of anything that goes on. That very night, before 6:30 in the morning, they find him dead. Once again, immediately, they start trumpeting the suicide thing. I tell you what, folks, this whole thing smells like a stack of dead fish. Now, I'm just going to say, hey, I'm not going to talk about my other endeavor called Sound the Alarm Brigade because this video is long enough. You guys have a great day.